Hello everyone, welcome to Crack Your DLR series. In this series, we are covering 100 plus CAT level DLR sets for CAT 2026, covering easy, moderate and hard difficulty levels. In this video, you will get one complete DLR set and the PDF will be mentioned in the pinned comment. Download it before you start. Pause the video, try solving the set by your own and continue to watch the video. If you're preparing for CAT 2026 and want a serious DLR practice, then this series is for you. And if you want more DLR sets, we have thousands of them. It's very simple, just go to Google and search Crack Your DLR sets.
Applicants for the doctoral programs of Ambi Institute of Engineering, that is AIE, and Bamboo Institute of Engineering, that is BIE, have to appear for a common entrance test, that is CET. The test has 3 sections: physics, chemistry and maths. Among those appearing for CET, those at or above the 80th percentile in at least 2 sections and at or above the 90th percentile overall are selected for advanced entrance test, AET, conducted by AIE. AET is used by AIE for final selection. For the 200 candidates who are at or above the 90th percentile overall based on CET, the following are known about their performance in CET. So essentially this is only for those who are at or above 90th percentile, which is actually a subset of the overall set of people who are taking the exam. So let's see what is given about these guys. Firstly, no one is below the 80th percentile in all 3 sections. 150 are at or above the 80th percentile in exactly 2 sections. The number of candidates at or above the 80th percentile only in P is the same as the number of candidates at or above the 80th percentile only in C. The same is the number of candidates at or above the 80th percentile only in M. Fourth is number of candidates below 80th percentile in P to the number of candidates below 80th percentile in C to the number of candidates below 80th percentile in M is 4:2:1. BIE uses a different process for selection. If any candidate is appearing in the AET by AIE, BIE considers their AET score for final selection provided the candidate is at or above the 80th percentile in P. Any other candidate or at or above the 80th percentile in P in CET but who is not eligible for AET is required to appear in a separate test to be conducted by BIE for being considered for the final selection. Together, there are 400 candidates this year who are at or above 80th percentile. So there are 80th percentile in P. So there are 400 candidates who are at or above 80th percentile in P, and there are 200 candidates who are at or above 90th percentile overall. This all information relates to those who are at or above 90th percentile overall. And if you see the language, it's like pretty much only in P, only C. So this is like Venn diagram. So let's first draw the Venn diagram of people who are at or above 90th percentile overall. So we have the Venn diagram as this is a set of all people who are at or above 90th percentile overall. So there are 200 people in it, and this has been split according to the sets PCM. So let's draw them out. This is P, this is C, and this is M. And the first clue that we are given is no one is below 80th. So for them to be inside this set is that they are at or above 80th percentile in each of these particular subjects. If they are below 80th percentile, then they are outside the circle essentially. So if you are part of this circle, essentially you are at or above 80th percentile in physics. If you are part of this C circle, you are at or above 80th percentile in chemistry. And if you are part of the M circle, you are at or above 80th percentile in maths. If you are outside these 3 circles, you are below 80th percentile in all 3 subjects, but you are above 90th percentile overall. So firstly, let's see what that value is. No one is below 80th percentile in all 3 sections. So essentially out of these 3 circles, the outside value is 0. 150 are at or above 80th percentile in exactly 2 sections. So what is exactly 1, exactly 2, exactly 3? So this is say A, B, C, and this is D, E, F, and this is G. So basically they are saying that D plus E plus F is 150. Okay, and so we have placed these 2 informations already, so we can forget about them. Then let's see what this is. The number of candidates at or above 80th percentile only in P is the same as the number of candidates at or above 80th percentile only in C and the number of candidates at or above 80th percentile only in M. So only in P is A, only in C is B, only in M is C. So essentially it's saying that A is equal to B is equal to C. But so we can directly just replace it. It would be easier dealing with fewer variables than with more variables as such. So we have eliminated some variables just by this particular line. So we have used this line as well. The last line is number of candidates below 80th percentile in P to the number of candidates below 80th percentile in C to the number of candidates below 80th percentile in M is 4:2:1. This is, have I used everything from this among those at our... So you have to be at or about 80th percentile in at least 2 sections and above 90th percentile overall to qualify for the AET as such. So the people who will be qualifying for AET are those who are at D, E, F, G essentially in this set. So those are the guys who are qualifying for AET. So we have used that information. Only the fourth point is remaining. Fourth point is that number of students below 80th percentile in P. So below 80th percentile in P is essentially this part, that is A plus F plus A. So that is 2A plus F. So 2A plus F to 2A, number of below 80th percentile in C. So below 80th percentile in C is 2A plus E. To below 80th percentile in M is 2A plus D. So this is 4:2:1. This is what we have been given. So this is the information that we have till now. So let's consider the fact that we have already removed almost everything as such. So we have 3A plus D plus E plus F plus G is 200. So 3A plus D plus E plus F plus G is 200. That is the sum of all the elements of the set. The number of elements outside the 3 circles is 0 as has been given by the first condition. D plus E plus F is 150. So 3A plus G will be 200 minus 150, that is 50. So this is the one condition we have. The second condition we have is that 2A plus F to 2A plus E to 2A plus D is 4:2:1. So let's assume that the ratio or the multiplier here is x. So that means 2A plus F is 4x, 2A plus E is 2x and 2A plus D is x. So we have all of this information. So if we add all of this together, we get 6A plus D plus E plus F is 7x. But this is equal to 150. So 6A plus 150 is 7x. We also have 3A plus G is equal to 50. So since these values cannot be negative, that means that G will have to be, the lowest value that G can take is when it's 0. When it's 0, 3A will not be a integer, it has to be a positive integer essentially. So G cannot be 0. So the min value G can take is G is equal to 2. And when G is equal to 2, 3A is equal to 48 and A is equal to 16. So the max value A can take is less than or equal to 16. Now we have been given that 6A plus 150 is 7x. So we have to find out values of A and x such that 6A plus 150 will be a multiple of 7. So let's start with these values where we have 6A plus this as 7x. So since it is above 150, let's consider all multiples of 7 which are above 150. If you see the LHS of this equation, the LHS is even. So all the multiples will essentially be even numbers. So x has to be an even number. So let's consider all the even multiples of 7. So the first multiple of 7 after 150, which is an even multiple, is 154. So when 7x is 154, A is equal to essentially 4. So 4 by 6. So this is not an integral value. The next even multiple is plus 14. So this is 168. So 6A is equal to 18. So A will be equal to 3. The next integral multiple is 172, 182. So when 7x is equal to 182, we have 3A is equal to 32. That is not a integer as such. So we can eliminate that. Add 14 more, we have 196. So this minus 150 is 46, not divisible by 6. So this is not an integer. Add 14, so this is 210. Minus 150, you get 60. So 6a is equal to 60 or a is equal to 10. Now we have add another 14, so we have 224 minus 150, so that is 74, not a multiple of 6. Then add another 14, that is 238, 238 minus 150, so that is 88, not a multiple of 6. So the next value, next even multiple of 7x will be 238 plus 14, that is 252. Minus 150, we get 102, divided by 6, we get 17. But the max value a can take is less than or equal to 16, so this cannot be. So we get essentially two possible values for a is equal to either 3 or a is equal to 10. So we have two essential, we have two possible values of a. Let's draw out the diagrams for that. So when a is either equal to 3 or a is equal to 10. And we'll have a corresponding Venn diagram for each of those two cases. So let's draw that out actually. This is the first question, but firstly I'll draw out both of the cases so that we can be clear about how each of those Venn diagrams will look. This is 200, this is 200. We have this is the case when a is equal to 3 and this is the case when a is equal to 10. So this will serve us for the remaining part as such. So when a is equal to 3, this value is 3, this value is 10. Let's solve first for a is equal to 3. Let's go back. So a is equal to 3, then we have 2a plus d is equal, if a is equal to 3, then 7x is equal to 168. So x is equal to divided by 7, so that is 24 as such. So x is equal to 24. So 2a plus d is equal to 24. So d is equal to 24 minus 2 into 3, that is 6. So d will be equal to 18 in this case. So in this case d is equal to so in this case d will be equal to 18. So this is value is 18. Then we have 2a plus e is equal to 2x. 2x is essentially 24 into 2, that is 48. 48 minus 6 is 42. So e is equal to 42. Let's go to 42. Then we have 4x. So 4x is 96. 96 minus 6. So f is equal to 90. So this is the sum that we have. And 3a plus g is equal to 50. So 3a is 9. So this is g will essentially be 41. So this is the sum that we have. This is the Venn diagram we have in this case. When a is equal to 10, 3a plus g is equal to 50. So 30 plus g is equal to 50. So this is 20. Let's take a look at d, e and f in this case. So let's go back. 2a plus d is equal to x. In this case, x is equal to 7x is equal to 210. So x is equal to 30. So 20 plus d is equal to 30. So d will be equal to 10. So let me put that. This is equal to 10. Going back, 2a plus e is equal to 2x. So we get this value is 60 minus 2 into 10. So e is equal to 40. So this is 40. And last value is 2a plus f is equal to 4x. X is 30 in this case. So this is 120. 120 minus 2a, that is minus 20. So this is equal to 100. So f is equal to 100. So these are the two Venn diagrams that we get in this case. So let's see the questions according to these two Venn diagrams. What best can be concluded about the number of candidates sitting for the separate test for BIE who are at or above 90th percentile overall in CET? So who will have to sit for the separate test for BIE? Those who are above 90th percentile in CET. That is those guys who are above 80th percentile in P but were not qualified for the remaining exam. So all of these guys, that is those who qualified, this is PCM. So all the other guys qualified for the exam. So these 18, 41, 42 will not have to sit for the separate exam. And these guys 393 are not above 80th percentile in P, so they will not be eligible for BIE. So the only guys who will have to sit for the separate exam is these guys, only P. So the only P value is 3 or 10. So we can say that this value is either 3 or it is 10. So the answer to this question is 3 or 10. If the number of candidates who are at or above 90th percentile overall and also above 80th percentile in all 3 sections in CET is actually a multiple of 5, what is the number of candidates who are at or above 90th percentile overall and at or above 80th percentile in both P and M in CET? So they are saying that in all 3 sections is essentially the variable G. G is a multiple of 5. That means here G is 41, so this Venn diagram is not true. This Venn diagram is applicable. Here G is 20, which is a multiple of 5. So they are saying that this particular case is applicable. So in this particular case, we have to find what is the number of students who are at or above 90th percentile overall and at or above 80th percentile in both P and M in CET. So both P and M in CET is 40 plus 20, that is 60. So the number of people who are above 80th, at or above 80th percentile in both P and M in CET is 60. The answer is 60. Let's consider the third question. If the number of candidates who are at or above the 90th percentile overall and also at or above the 80th percentile in all 3 sections in CET is actually a multiple of 5, saying the second case is applicable, then how many candidates were shortlisted for AET for the AET by AIE? So how many were shortlisted for AET will be the number who are like D plus E plus F plus G. So this particular case is applicable. This particular case is applicable, and those who are shortlisted are 10 plus 20 plus 40 plus 100. So that is 10 plus 20 plus 40 plus 100. So this value is equal to 30, 70, 170. So 170 were shortlisted for the AET. So essentially, who is shortlisted for AET? Those who are in overlap of 2 or overlap of all 3 sections. Overlap of 2 sections means you were there above 80th percentile in at least 2 sections, which was the cutoff condition as such. So anybody who is in the overlap of 2 as well as overlap of 3 would have qualified for AET. So that value is 170. Now let's take a look at the last question. If the number of candidates who are at or above the 90th percentile overall and also at or above the 80th percentile in P in CET is more than 100, how many candidates had to sit for a separate test for BIE? So we are saying at or above 80th percentile in P in CET. So let's see in both cases how many people are at or above 80th percentile in P in CET. So we have, in this case, we have that value to be 3 plus 18, that is 21. 21 plus 41 is 62. So 62 plus 42 is 104. So this, in this case, number of people who are at or above P, 80th percentile P is, this is above 100 as such. So this case satisfies the given condition. Let's see what is the case over here. It is 10 plus 10, 20, 20 plus 20, 40, 40 plus 40, 80. So in this case it is 80. So this is less than, this is not, this case is not greater than 100. So this case is not applicable. So in this, in the last question, this particular Venn diagram is applicable. So we have to solve using this Venn diagram. So let's take a look at what the question actually asks. How many students had to sit for a separate test for BIE? Now who has to sit for a separate test for BIE? Those who scored above 80th percentile in P but did not qualify for AET. So how many scored above 80th percentile in P? We have been told in the question itself that 400 scored above 80th percentile in P. Now we have to remove all those who qualified for AET as such. So let's take a look at the Venn diagram. So we go back. So how many qualified for AET? The people who lie in the intersection of P and C, P and M, and overlap of all 3 sections would have qualified for AET. So we have to remove these three portions as such. So that is 400 minus the sum of 18, 41 and 42. So this is equal to 83, 83, that is 91, 101. So we get 400 minus 101, 101. So this is equal to 299. So 299 people had to sit for a separate test for BIE. So this is how we answer the question. So as you could see, this was a slightly tougher question on Venn diagrams. Here you were not generally what happens in Venn diagram is after you solve the LR set, you are given one, you end up with one Venn diagram. In this case, you ended up with two Venn diagrams, and depending on the question, different Venn diagram was applicable as such. So always make sure that what in this case what you should have done is, once you realize that you can't solve the question, you can't completely fill the set as such from the given conditions, go and see the questions. In the questions you are given things like if this was a multiple of 5, if this is greater than 100. From this very basic thing you can see that different cases are applicable and you should draw different scenarios. Whenever you see that the question specifically asks for a particular scenario, then you have to understand that, you know what, there are multiple scenarios that are applicable. Draw out those scenarios and then answer the questions. So this is how you solve this particular question. Pretty simple question on Venn diagrams. You should have been able to solve this. This did not require a whole lot of logic as such. It just required perseverance. So this is something that was easily solvable if you guys didn't give up.
DILR feels unpredictable. It's not luck. It's a smart set selection. Many fear DILR, but how does CAT actually frames the paper? There are definitely solvable sets when you learn to navigate and pick sets from your comfort zone. And for set selection strategy, PYQs are your best resource. We Team CrackU have compiled CAT DILR questions all at one place. Just Google CAT DILR questions to practice, analyze, watch video solution and download PDFs.